In this video, I want you to recognize how your life is one of opposing forces and dynamic tensions between those forces, and how that's a good thing. Hi, Mark Gilbert here. This video is about shifting your perspective about the interplay between two opposites. What I want you to consider is that how our human and spiritual evolutionary path is one filled with opposing forces that dance with one another in some kind of relationship with a degree of tension. And that this dance has contributed to the higher state of being that we are all in. And then when that dance gets out of balance, growth can stop, evolution can stop, or even regress. Consider this. At the personal level, each of us feel an interesting tension in our lives. On the one hand, we want to be independent, autonomous, do things for ourselves, do things the way we want to do them without the interference of others. We see ourselves as these entities that stand alone and apart from the rest of the world. Included in this is our personal histories of our past, our memories, as well as our visions and personal hopes for the future. We see ourselves as these little islands in the vast sea of humanity. We simply say out to the world, let me be who I am to do my own thing. Yet on the other hand, something within us calls us into connection with others. We desire love and affection. We feel comfort in belonging to groups where we feel common bonds, be it through family, faith, nationality, or belief. We realize there's both safety and strength in numbers, and that we can accomplish much more when we come together in groups. On some level, we realize exactly what Don wrote about in his classic poem, "No man is an island." The tension between these two seemingly opposing forces, independence versus joining others, is part of our evolutionary past. Humans would not have evolved to the level of complexity and degree of consciousness without our evolutionary forefathers learning how to master this delicate balance. So, let's do a quick thought experiment. Consider for a moment your physical body and the systems that have come together in cooperation for you to be you right now. Independent atoms had to join forces with other atoms to form molecules. Molecules had to join up with other molecules to create cells. Cells had to join up to create multicelled organisms. And through time and the evolutionary process, cells developed specialized functions and banded together with like-minded cells to create organs and other dedicated aspects of our bodies. We can be thankful that at some point, our blood cells, brain tissue, bones, and so on, were able to both maintain their independence and autonomy as a cell, while also joining forces with others to create a greater whole through specialization. So we might consider that the atoms, the cells, the multicelled organisms, and the creation of specialized organs and tissues within our bodies are all our evolutionary forefathers. They all learned how to both maintain their independence, but also allow themselves to become interdependent in service to some larger goal. Yet, that's not the whole story. Even after our physical evolution has evolved to the point where we are, individual humans have dealt with the dynamic tension in other ways. On the one hand, they found themselves competing for survival with other humans, which has led to violence and competition. On the other hand, they found themselves joining forces with other humans in groups, cooperating towards common ends. Even these groups of humans, as they had to balance the tension as they competed and battled with other groups of humans at times, and joined forces with them at other times. As humans come together in groups, similar to cells, we begin to create specialized functions to serve the greater needs of the whole human organism. Consider how humans have banded together in cities, states, countries, religions, corporations, and so on. In each of these groupings, we humans have found our niche in specialized roles, serving as farmers, merchants, teachers, doctors, computer programmers, and so on. We gave up many of our general abilities crucial to our independent survival so as to develop specialized abilities crucial to our collective survival. Now, the process I've been describing is what philosopher Ken Wilber references in his discussion of the evolution of holons. What's a holon? It's pretty simple. It's anything that's whole and complete in and of itself, yet it's simultaneously made up of other holons, things that are whole and complete in themselves, and it's part of a larger holon above it. Each holon is part of a great chain from smaller to larger. Think atoms to molecules to cells. Think individual humans to tribes to cities to countries, and you get an inkling of the picture of holons. Every holon, including each human and a group of humans, has certain motivations or drives. Two of these are agency and communion. Agency is the drive within us for independence and autonomy, to be a whole into ourselves. Communion, on the other hand, is the opposite, or drive to expand beyond ourselves in connection with others, to seek a greater wholeness. And it's part of our evolutionary path, moving us upwards. This dance of dynamic tensions is a natural part of our universe. We all have a natural tendency towards growth and change, while we all seek to expend as little energy and to keep things static and the same. We want to cling to the security of the past while we embrace the possibilities of the future. We want to see the world as one giant global community with freedom and prosperity for all, while we seek to protect our families, our country, our traditions, our local sense of control. Everywhere we look, we see this dynamic tension at play. At the largest evolutionary terms, everything in this world is in a constant tug of war between maintaining our sense of independence versus our sense to connect with something greater. Yet there are many other examples or ways that we and all of life are in a dance between two opposites, swinging one way and then the other. The dance of dynamic tension plays out not only in our personal lives, but in our collective lives as society as a whole. Certain political positions seek to maintain the status quo, while others seek to push us forward with change. Individual humans may come down on one side or another of this political spectrum, but at the group level of all of us, we have a dynamic tension between those that seek to keep us the same and those that seek to grow us and to expand the possibilities for who we are. Many of us may feel frustrated because things are either changing too fast when we're wanting to keep them static, or they're not moving fast enough, depending upon our desire to move us to a higher future. It all depends on our individual beliefs. But I want you to consider is that at the greater level of all humanity, in the vast expanse of time, this dance that we're occurring in our political situation and in so much of our lives is essential to our evolution. A healthy balance with a dynamic, fluid movement in the middle leads to maintaining what we have accomplished in the past while opening us to growth for the future. If the dance gets too far out of balance and we lose our equilibrium, it can have detrimental effects for us. To a degree, we've been experiencing this in our political world in recent years, and it's causing us some pain and some struggle these days. You know, we might consider that there's a number of ways that America or humanity is out of balance, that this dance of dynamic tension has swung off kilter. We can look at the Earth and our treatment of the planet, the growing levels of income inequality on the planet, the growing inequality of our distribution of political power, the swings to the extremes with our political polarization, and many other areas. But what history and evolution have shown us is that when there is not a healthy balance, corrective action's not far behind. Consider what happens when a new species is introduced into a new environment and it has no natural predator to keep things in balance. For a while, the new species thrives. It eats all it finds and it reproduces at a high rate until the inevitable reckoning occurs. That's when there's too many of it and it's eaten all its food sources. And now there's no food to consume. Like a virus, it's overpopulated and overeats until it forced itself into extinction. But even then, a new equilibrium is established. So let's stop here and consider, where are the dynamic tensions in your life? Which ones are in a healthy dance between the opposites? And where perhaps are things out of balance? And what does that tell you that you need to consider for action in your life at this time? Something to ponder. Let me know what you think. Drop me a comment. Until next time.